Hello, my name is Dr. Curtis Lehman, and I'm a part of the Louisville Institute Collaborative Inquiry team that is exploring issues of mental health, hospitality, and the Christian church. Today, I'm going to talk to you about talking about mental health in the church. And this is the second video. In the first video, I gave some words of caution about how to talk about mental health. And in this one, I want to give a few recommendations, 5 recommendations about how to talk about mental health in the church. First off, the first recommendation is to simply talk about mental health. This is the most important takeaway. We've got to stop the silence about mental health and mental illnesses in the church. Saying nothing says something. Mental health problems are all around us if we're not experiencing them ourselves. You'll go a long ways by talking about mental health openly and without judgment. Whether you speak from the pulpit, lead a small group, or just have casual conversations after the service, talk about it. It's great if you could share your own experiences, but you can also share issues that you know other people are struggling with. By the way, there's just under 300 mental disorders with PTSD, bulimia, panic disorder, autism, ADHD, and Alzheimer's just being a sampling of a few of them. And by acknowledging specific disorders, you're giving the message that people with these conditions are welcome in your church. Now, my second recommendation is to frame mental health as a spectrum. The idea of a spectrum or a continuum is that people don't simply have good mental health or bad mental health. That's a false dichotomy, and it sets us up to think in terms of us versus them. Instead, let's be honest. Everyone falls somewhere on that spectrum of mental health. No matter where you fall, you can always seek out greater mental health for yourself. The third recommendation is to be inclusive of those with mental illness. People with mental illness have lived experience. They know their needs best. Sometimes advocates fail to listen to those they claim to serve. Be sure to include people with mental illness in church services, in ministries, and on committees, especially committees where you're discussing issues of mental health. They have gifts to bring to the church that God wants them to use. My fourth recommendation is to confront the realities. Discussions about mild forms of mental illness are seemingly becoming more commonplace in the church, and that's a great thing. But the church still seems to have trouble appreciating the reality of chronic and severe mental illness. There are conditions such as schizophrenia, autism, anorexia, bipolar disorder that can sometimes be severely disabling and can even be a lifelong condition, even with treatment. We also know that some problems like addictions are chronically relapsing and that generally don't get well until multiple bouts of treatment to see that success. Now, you might be thinking that sounds so pessimistic, but that's the difficult reality that some are facing. You can still pray for healing and hope for recovery, but being a caring community demands an honest appraisal when one of us is facing severe troubles. My fifth and final recommendation for you is short and sweet. Affirm the inherent worth of those with mental illness. All people are created in the image of God and are beloved. Let's acknowledge that and love people as God has called us. I hope you find these recommendations helpful. God bless you.